there's a company that we've had on and off over the last year and a half named Immunic, and they are really doing really remarkable work in late-stage trials for MS. They just closed a $200 million private placement to help fund that late-stage stuff. Which is good news in a couple areas, but I think we have Jason again.
Jason Tardio is our President, Chief Operating Officer, Immunic Therapeutics. Ticker symbol IMUX, and we welcome him back to the Big Biz Show. Jason, it's been a while. Thanks for the time, man.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, you know, I have to bring this up. You know, before we get to the Immunic part of this thing, let's talk about the money side of this thing, because you and I have talked about this before. Money was shut down in the biopharma industry for about 2.5 years, except for 1/4 of last year. This is good news overall, is it not?
Very good news. Yes, it's been a tough couple of years, but strong wins in our sales, if you will, in the latter part of 2025, especially Q4. The sector, we believe, is recovering, and we have clear optimism for what's to come ahead of us.
The good news for you guys is obviously this brings you guys to the next kind of phase to get you closer to NDA and get closer to commercialization. Talk about exactly what this money does for you guys.
Well, this is transformative for the company. You know, we are fully funded now for the foreseeable future, which allows us to focus on really 4 key objectives. The first being the readout of our phase 3 studies in relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis, which we're guiding towards readout at the tail end of this year. In parallel, it allows us to begin to pull together a new drug application and prepare to submit a new drug application, which is the formal process to submit to the FDA for approval of your medicine. And so we will target that upon successful data in Q2 of 2027. We are also going to kick off a phase 3 confirmatory study in primary progressive multiple sclerosis. And the progressive forms of the disease just have enormous unmet need with only one available therapy today. So we're very excited about that. And then the last objective is it allows us to begin to prepare for a commercial launch of vidofludimus calcium in the United States in relapsing MS in 2028.
Jason Tardio is the President and COO of Immunic Therapeutics, ticker symbol IMUX. Jason, as far as the United States is concerned by itself, how many people are affected with one form or another of MS?
Well, according to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, which is the largest patient advocacy group, there's over 1 million individuals living with multiple sclerosis in the United States alone. Jeez. And so it's a fairly common disease. It's a disease of which there's been I think over the last 30 years or so, there's been some wonderful innovation, but we have not solved the disease. Individuals living with MS still have disability progression, physical disability progression, cognitive disability progression. And so there continues to be a need for safe and alternative ways to address this disease. And this is what we're hoping to bring to the market with vidofludimus calcium.
Hey, Jason, for the vidofludimus, is that how you say it?
Vidofludimus
calcium.
It just rolls off the tongue if you're Jason Tardio. Come on.
Is that something that, so for relapsing MS, do they take it when they relapse, or they take it when they're not so that they don't relapse? How does that work?
No, so this would be a disease-modifying therapy. So this is a medicine that individuals living with the disease would take every day to control the relapses, so to prevent relapses from happening, to prevent new lesions from forming in the brain, and ultimately to prevent disability accumulation. So this is not a symptomatic therapy. This is a medicine that would change the trajectory of the disease.
You know, what's interesting here is you guys reported data from your phase 2, and now that we're moving into the next phase here, what have we learned, and any surprises since, or has it been sort of a holding pattern until you knew you had the money in place?
Well, as I've mentioned, we're running one large program in relapsing forms of MS, which is the most common form of the disease. About 75% of individuals diagnosed with MS have relapsing forms of MS. So we have 2 ongoing phase 3 trials, the ENSURE-1 and the ENSURE-2 studies, and we're expecting top-line data from those studies in December of this year. In parallel, we did report in the spring of 2025 a very interesting and compelling data from what's called the CALIBR study in progressive forms of multiple sclerosis. And in this study, we showed that vidofludimus calcium can stave off disability progression in both SPMS, secondary progressive MS, and primary progressive MS patients. And so what we've been waiting for with this financing is this now allows us to kick off a confirmatory study, a phase 3 program, specifically in primary progressive MS, and we hope to kick that off in the second half of this year.
Can I ask you, in terms of infusions, in terms of pills, in terms of just patient quality of life, how does this change things for both the relapsing, remitting, and progressive MS?
Treatment selection in multiple sclerosis is very individualized. And so clinicians will sit with patients and ask them their goals and objectives for therapies. They'll ask them a little bit about their lifestyle, and they'll ask them what they're looking for in a therapy. So there are therapies that are infused every 6 months, for example, infused every month, for example. There's therapies that you inject and self-inject at home, sometimes a couple of times a week, sometimes once a month. And then there's oral therapies as well. Vidofludimus calcium sits in that category. It is a tablet that's taken once a day. And so we believe it's a very, very convenient option for patients. And again, the data that we've generated to date shows very, very strong efficacy data balanced with a what we believe may be a best in disease safety and tolerability profile. So we combine convenience with great efficacy, with great safety and tolerability. And again, we believe we have a winner on our hands.
The company is Immunic Therapeutics. President COO is Jason Tardio. Their ticker symbol IMUX.
You know, your very capable CFO, Glenn, over there, and you and the whole team put together a pretty interesting deal, which is super clean on this $200 million private placement, including some warrant coverage. And for the folks, just a little infotainment for you. Warrants are basically a kicker when folks are investing money in a publicly traded company, but they're investing into what's called a PIPE, where they can't really sell their stock right away. It gives them what's called a kicker. It gives them incentive. They're being paid to wait, basically. And what that is for you guys, though, it's a cash windfall for you down the road. So you explain that. I don't think people really understand. Look, yeah, I've given away some shares, and we've given away some more potential shares. But what it really is for you guys, it's a huge cash windfall down the road once those warrants are exercised, because that's more capital coming in.
It's twofold. It's cash today, so $200 million that we received in the bank this week, but there's also potentially another $200 million post data. So the warrants trigger upon data release again in December of this year, and the investors have 30 days to execute those warrants. So again, this could be another $200 million into the company at that time. And again, this is funding that we'll need to continue to progress the phase 3 in PPMS, but also to continue work to prepare for commercial launch of vidofludimus calcium.
You got to come back with us. I want you to come in studio and spend an hour with us one time, Jason. I'd love to pick your brain on it and give you guys the time.
I would love that.
It's San Diego. It's San Diego. It's not that big a ask. We've only had 3 days of rain in the last 10 years.
Jason Tardio, President and COO, Immunic Therapeutics, ticker symbol IMUX, helping those folks out there.